Part of the boundary separating the counties of Berkshire and Surrey runs through our postcard today, which is from the Savill Garden, Windsor Great Park. Now there's Zoe the cat taking the air at Savill Gardens, and I've got Lynn here, Lynn Randall. Zoe the cat, is she yours?
No, she belongs to one of the gardeners here, and she follows him into the garden, and she's our mouser.
Oh, yes. There must be plenty around here.
Oh yes, there are plenty around here.
How big is Savill Gardens?
So it's nearly 40 acres.
And part of Windsor Great Park?
Part of Windsor Great Park, yes. It was set aside by Eric Savill when he was Deputy Ranger here in 1932. And he started to garden here in a small corner at the top end of the garden. Very keen on horticulture, a very great landscaper. And what he was doing got to the ears of King George V and Queen Mary, and they came along and had a look. And they said, reputed to have said, "Very nice, Mr. Savill, but isn't it rather small?" And which he considered to be his green light. And so he started to extend it from a little bog garden up to the 40 or so acres.
And we've got this beautiful lake pond.
Yes, well the pond it's all been dug out by hand. It follows the line of a stream that comes into the garden. The park is crisscrossed with ditches, drainage ditches. And a ditch came through this area, so Eric Savill utilised this, and we have a stream at the top. Then he widened this to make a pond, and going further down, another stream and another pond. And all dug out by hand. No JCBs in those days. No,
no, a lot of people with shovels. Now, just along here, I can see, I don't know where they've gone now. Let's walk along here then, because I saw some baby moorhens.
Yes, they're just in the irises over there.
Yeah.
This is a second brood. For some reason, they've lost their first brood and decided to lay again. And it's getting, yes, there they are.
Just popping out there, aren't they, the babies?
Yeah.
And here comes some more.
Little fluffy ones.
Look at them, see, it's right on cue.
Yes.
They knew, didn't they?
They did,
They
yes,
knew.
Yeah.
So is this where Savill Gardens began, all around this area?
Yes, in the far distance you can just see a willow tree.
Oh,
if you come this way a little bit more,
yeah.
you can see the willow tree, and that was one of the original plants. And he started to garden up there, and the stream is just to the right of the willow. And it was mainly bog plants like primulas and irises, which he scrounged from his horticultural friends.
And did he come from this part of Surrey?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think
it just so happened that this was the place.
Yes, he came here as Deputy Ranger of Windsor Great Park.
And fate led him
indeed,
here.
Yes, indeed.
Where's fate going to take us to now then, Lynn?
Well, if we would like to wander through, see the rose gardens and the herbaceous borders.
We like a bit of roses,
and
don't
we'll go up to the wall.
We do like a few roses.
Yes.
I've got Middlesex County roses in my garden.
Oh, they're very nice.
Yes, you know,
yes,
very
I do.
peachy and apricot.
Yes,
my friend Bill Bossum up at Enfield actually created the Middlesex rose.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's Now, I mentioned the Middlesex rose, Lynn, and we've got the Surrey rose here.
Yes, well, we felt that we ought to have the Surrey rose because the county boundary runs through the garden and we're actually on the Surrey side. So we thought the Surrey rose would be most appropriate. And it's a very pretty colour too.
It is.
It's a very pretty colour.
And so it's Berkshire over there.
On the far side of the garden, yes. Yeah.
This bit, which is still in Surrey, it's now that to me, with those autumn leaves and that little seat, I mean, this is the sort of place I'd want to be sitting reading.
Yeah, ideal. And of course, either side we have the herbaceous borders, which are very colourful at this time of the year. The Crystal Palace, of course, is the new temperate greenhouse, which the Queen opened 2 years ago, and that houses our collection of tender rhododendrons.
Does Queen Elizabeth enjoy gardens?
I think she does, yes, I think she does.
There's her mum who's the
Oh,
logger.
yes,
Yeah.
Queen Mother and Princess Margaret are very keen, very keen. And in fact, the house is actually named after Her Majesty the Queen Mother.
Oh, is it?
Indeed it is, yes. It's called the Queen Elizabeth Temperate House.
Right. Now, let's go and... Well, which way should we go?
Well, let's go this way, towards the herbaceous borders.
I found a little arbour. Well, not that it was far to walk from the Surrey Rose, but these colours here, and these are my colours.
Yes, they're very typical sort of colour for this time of the year. The borders are planted specifically to come into flower from July until October, November, because in the spring we have the rhododendrons and azaleas. There's plenty to see at that time of the year, but from July onwards the herbaceous borders come into their own.
They are great. See, the cornflower's my favourite flower. Those blues, and the asters are lovely.
Oh yes,
because these are very
typical
astery
autumn colours. Yes,
You know. What about you, though? I mean, you know so much about these plants and things. I mean, is that what you trained as a gardener?
Not really, no. My first 11 years of working, I worked in an office in London.
Did you?
I did, and I decided that I'd had enough of that. Hated the telephone, hated the travelling, and I thought I'd like to come into gardening. So I was a very late starter, and I did 3 years at Wisley, and then came here in 1975 as a gardener, and then gradually worked up from there.
Oh, she's top woman now, everybody. I tell you, she's starting. I mean, let that be a lesson to you all. If you don't like what you're doing, where there's a will, there's a way.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Or where there's a will, there's a Wisley.
And I was so much, I had to take an enormous drop in salary, but it didn't matter. I was happy in my work, which was the main thing.
And Wisley, is that the creme de la creme?
It is the creme de la creme. Yes,
Yes.
the Royal Horticultural Society at Wisley.
Creme de la creme, and I'm with a doyenne. This looks an extremely unusual tree, and it looks as though it's got about 8 or 9 trunks.
Yes, well, it is unusual. It's called Podocarpus salignis. It's the Chilean pine, and it started its life there as a box of seedlings. So it's not one plant, but several.
Ah, hence all the trunks.
Hence all the trunks. And this area was originally a nursery that provided trees for the rest of the park. And when Eric Savill started to develop this, he utilised that as a centrepiece for the herbaceous borders. That was the strength of his vision. He could see what it would eventually look like.
So we've got this lovely view then of all the plants and everything. It's almost like a crossroads, isn't it?
Yes, almost. Yes, it's a focal point.
You know, when you said about a Chilean pine, I always think of that as the monkey puzzle tree. Do you know what I mean? With all sorts of looks odd in some people's gardens.
When I say it's a conifer and it's from Chile,
Right.
It's not actually a pine, but then nor is the monkey puzzle.
Right.
But it's a coniferous plant from Chile.
It's lovely, isn't it? I mean, I love all of that tangle
it's
of leaves.
Yes, it's very unusual.
It is. Now, there's all the woodlands over there. You're saying about Savill Gardens being notably a woodlands park, really.
That's what we've always in the past been noted for. But as you can see here, there's plenty of colour in the summer, and we have several rose gardens as well.
Well, I can see a wall over there. What's that? Was that the boundary with anywhere?
Well, that forms one of the boundaries of the garden. On the other side is a ride that we call them rides and not roads in Windsor Great Park.
Oh, they're rides.
Yes, that just goes past. But the wall is interesting in that most gardens, big gardens in England, have a house, and that provides a wall. But there's no house here. So Eric Savill decided that he ought to have a wall to grow the more tender shrubs. And he managed to get a delivery of bricks from the East End after the London bombing.
So it's actually built from that?
That's what it's built from, yeah.
Oh, right. Well, I think definitely we should ride along here.
Yes.
And this rose here is glorious. A nice perfume.
Yes, and perfectly formed.
It is.
Yes,
glorious. What sort of roses are these?
These are the hybrid tea roses, which most people know. A smaller number of flowers, but bigger flowers. With the floribundas, you get smaller flowers and a lot more on the stem. Yeah.
Now, how do you cope with a garden this size? In fact, a garden of any size with bugs and insects, things like that.
Well, we do try to keep the use of pesticides to a minimum in the garden. We don't really like to use them, but with roses you have to have a spraying programme, and it's mainly against black spot and mildew and green fly.
Well, I think, you know what strikes me about you? You definitely did the right thing leaving the office, because to be with, you are so unhurried and so relaxed. This woman's great to be with. I mean, if you come to Savill Gardens, I don't know if you'll be their personal guide, but you get this wonderful feeling, don't you?
We do have friends of the Savill Garden that do organise guided tours for people if they wish. And I'm around.
Yeah,
I'm around.
but are they as friendly as her? My friend. Go for a little stroll. Now, Lynn departed my scene, but she pointed me up there and says, you'll like it up there. Now, I can see why. Just look, homemade cakes aplenty. They look absolutely glorious. A little selection coming here. We love coffee and walnut, we love banana, we love chocolate oat. In fact, quite frankly, we love everything. More creamy delights there. Oh, pies. Steak and kidney pies by the looks of it.
Yes.
And oh, right, well, we'll have one of those. Steak and kidney pie, and turkey and vegetable. Oh, Zoe, I can tell your names there. Just bring everything over to my table. Well, I'm looking forward to this. Beautiful surroundings, calm, easy, peaceful, and some great British grub. Lovely. My homemade cakes. My goodness, there is only me. Oh, well. The uninvited guest, whoever that might be. Thanks, Zoe. Thanks very much. Well, do we say in an English country garden, bon appetit? Why not? Bon appetit.